part of what she wanted me to do was put together a presentation that talked about a lot of the things that we've already covered throughout the entire semester, but now we're taking it from a different perspective. Now we're looking at it for the tools that we can give you guys as teacher-educated candidates. Okay. First video I'm going to show you was actually set up for North Carolina, but it actually holds true for a lot of different school districts.
In the 1970s, young people were financially independent of their parents, typically by age 21. That has increased to age 26 now.
In the long term, for their own retirement and savings, they're not going to have what my generation or my parents' generation had. They may not have Social Security, and so they have to rely on themselves.
The North Carolina Council on Economic Education is formed by educators for educators. Our mission is to enhance and advance economic and financial education for North Carolina's teachers and students. After the economic crisis over the last several years, there was a big push for financial literacy in the schools. We found ourselves in a position of great personal finance standards are now required. Our teachers prepared to teach them. All of a sudden, we had school districts throughout North Carolina scrambling for help to prepare their teachers to teach personal finance.
I started teaching personal finance here at Leesville Road High School. I didn't have enough resources to offer my students. And so what I found is that the North Carolina Council for Economic Education offered a fabulous training program. So I've been able to attend several personal finance workshops, specifically for teachers. And financial professionals are actually leading these workshops.
At Fidelity, the professionals we have here have 5, 10, 15, 20 years in the financial services industry. What we were able to do with the teachers was spend a little bit of time talking with them about financial education. We gave them scenarios, some tools, some games that they could use to really make the education applicable in the classroom for all different modalities of learners.
If you bring these ideas and interactive lessons into the classroom, the students will pay attention. For example, today they receive dividends in the form of Starbursts.
Because of the partnerships that we have with private corporations, we're able to do this at no cost to the teachers or to the state. The majority of our funding comes from financial institutions and private corporations in North Carolina who have a vested interest in giving back to the community. A good, strong, financially literate and economically literate citizenry is good for business overall.
For all teachers right now who have lots of challenges and daily struggles, we need the most help that we can get. And what we're finding is professionals who are coming to the table with money and support empower the teachers, and it's inspiring us. And I find that I hear teachers say, wow, we really feel valued, that these folks think that we're important enough to take time and provide us with this training so that we can go back and be the best that we can be.
The reason why I wanted to kick off with that one was about 2 years ago, a survey was done. Well, the smart word isn't so smart. At that time, 89% of teachers thought, this is 2 years ago, 89% of teachers thought that some type of financial literacy should be taught in the classroom. Now, the bottom two pieces are the scary part. Only 29% of those are actually teaching some type of financial literacy. Whether it's tied into economics, social studies, mathematics, which is where another one you'll start to see, and fewer than 20 felt even remotely competent to teach this.
I have to interject that the North Carolina Council, just as an FYI, is replicated in all states. In Ohio, there is an Ohio Council for Economic Literacy, Financial Literacy, with 5 regional support people. I represent Northwest Ohio. There are 4 other universities. Bowling Green is Northwest Ohio, and I chair or direct that center. But the materials that are out there from all over the country are available to you guys. And the research that was done in Ohio is even scarier than that.
Which
And we started requiring it for graduation with the class of 2013. High school class.
Just even off of what DJ just said, 17 states require it as part of it. Now, this is not a standalone financial class. This is in economics. It doesn't have to be any part of it. As part of another class, I was actually up at Maumee High School for the last couple of days. There is a teacher up there that they term the class general business. He's been doing personal finance. So he's been doing a lot of the things that we've been doing here in the classroom and utilizing some of the other pieces that you'll see coming up. And like DJ just pointed out, only 6 states out of 50 require it as a part of graduation, which is not getting it done. You stole my thunder.
Sorry.
It's okay. Council for Economic Education. Very big. Oh, come on. Lovely, lovely site. As DJ pointed out, those are your resources. We're not reinventing the wheel as educators. We're not asked to reinvent it. You're not trying to come up with some great new lesson plan. A lot of great different things in here. Whose name's down at the bottom? Hey. Now, the reason why I brought that up and the reason why DJ stole my thunder, not only is what Quentin put together, what I've put together, what we've done together as a class with the Finance 101. For the next however many years you guys are here, she's in the building. If you have questions, make an appointment. Talk to her. Wealth of information. Use the resources that are available. If you have trouble or are stuck on a lesson plan, ask me. So I brought that up. Need longer arms. Or one of those sticks with a hand on it.
And wherever you go in the state or in the nation, there is going to be some friendly face that's going to say, you need help, I'll be glad to help you.
And correct me if I'm wrong, DJ, I know you're part of this. I don't know if she's the main chair. She's the main chair out of the University of Cincinnati, Julie Heath.
Yeah, she's not the main.
She's not, okay.
We're all.
Okay. Did she ever get Jumpstart kicked off here in the state of Ohio?
Mm-hmm.
Or Smart Money? Was it Smart Money or it wasn't Jumpstart? It was Smart Money.
Jumpstart's been with us forever.
Okay. But she was the one that kicked a lot of things off in Ohio State. So there's a lot of different resources that are out there. Just on resources. Very, very important. That second line, Common Core Tools. Most everything you will ever have to do from here on out has to tie to that little tab right there. Common Core. Everything from your standard, which is where you're going to find your standards. Let's see if this works. That's what I was afraid of. Talk amongst yourselves. The New Deal was not a new or an ordeal. Discuss. Coffee talk. Now, kind of from what you guys saw, what would be a common question for you guys as teacher educator candidates? What scares you guys the most about financial literacy?
Mortgages.
Don't all speak up at once. The math part? Why? What's your content area?
Science,
So where it would fit for you is if you're doing social studies. See how you can tie in economic class 29, 57,
But I'm talking about fire ones. So it'll be easier.
You know, if you're teaching outside the social studies or business area, it's specifically math and science, there are so many tie-ins to economics and to financial literacy that you can use. One school up in Toledo became an economic school. And from kindergarten on, they had a market economy in their school. So everybody earned, every day while they were at school, they earned Birmingham bucks. And they did it in a variety of ways. Some of the kids made things that they sold in the Birmingham market. Some kids did things like helping clean up after lunch, and making sure that all the paper products were put away, all that kind of stuff. Not custodial work, but all the other stuff that happens. The bottom line was that kids earned, and then they got to spend in the Birmingham store, in the market. And the parents and the kids put together things. But even in the hallways, there was a kindergartner one day who was a hall monitor, sort of. She stopped a sixth grader who was running down the hall. And she said, "You're running. That's a violation." And the sixth grader stopped. And she said, "I have to write your ticket." And she had a little book with carbon paper, and it makes copies on the second side. So she wrote his name. She asked him his name, and she went to write it. And she goes, "Could you write this for me? I don't write very well." And he wrote his name and his class, and it probably helped that the principal was standing right next to me and we were watching the whole thing happen. But he loses Birmingham bucks because he was running in the hall. But everybody's part of the market economy. It was an amazing experience.
It's really funny to watch.
It was hilarious.
So since everybody's kind of got at least one device at their table, I'll just do it as one new table. If everybody can go to the moneyasyoulearn.org.
Money
Do it on one. Moneyasyoulearn.org. Where are all my middle school math teachers?
Oh.
Really? I thought we were doing
It's an advanced physics. So you can just go to him.
We only have 2 middle school math?
Well, you can be math, you can be social studies and
Right.
Nope. So
life science.
Okay. Everybody in?
what are we doing? Yeah.
Okay. Down at the very bottom of the screen, guys, see how all the grades are broken down? If you just kind of hover over there, go to... Huh?
Molly, what website is it?
Oh, yeah. Everybody uses it.
Can I do it on your screen while you're talking?
Monday.
Yeah. Might be able to. I was just afraid of losing that. Okay. But if you go to, if you pull up, say, mathematics, I don't think English is up and running yet. But if you look at the mathematics,
For what grade?
you don't learn it from. Money's you learn. Actually, go to the front. No, go back.
Raises his hand. That's cute.
You're fine. Click on the presidential seal. Or Money's you learn. Click on that one. Go on Money's you learn.
Here?
Which one? If you go down to the bottom,
That's what he said.
yeah,
Okay, it was on the
if you
right.
see where DJ's at, if you guys click on, say, mathematics,
Oh.
if you're gonna
That's
click
what I was
on
going
it.
to do, but I told you what to do.
If you look on the left-hand side of the page, so if you want to view by chord, it should be.
Because I took it somewhere else. There's no way.
There's all of your
There's
common
no
core.
way you should count that somewhere else.
That's how you can tie in on your lesson plans. When you guys get into pre-methods, you get into methods, these are the things that they're going to be looking for.
Yeah, psychology, I get that.
Yeah. That's not to say a lot of times when you're doing your lesson plans, and you should please correct me if I'm wrong, you're not going to have all of them. Keep them. So if if you can tie everything, if you're tying your economics into this. Economics, you can do several different things. You can do budgets. You can do checking account. Think of our Finance 101 game. What were the different things that they taught in there? Amazingly or not, on my list that you did posted a minute ago, Monopoly is actually on there. Just a regular board game, Monopoly, that you can do through class. Any of the other activities that we've done throughout this. But that's how you can tie those pieces in the core. This is what's going to help you guys over the next 2 years. And beyond that, it's going to be...
How many of you have taken introduction to social studies or introduction to business? So we still have people. They're going to ask you to do some investigative work. And these are the resources, some of the resources that you might be able to use that will make it a whole lot better for you, will enrich what you're doing, make you more effective. But I have to tell you, marketability, you can go, when you're in methods, you start your professional year. Beginning of that, you're all going to see me again, but in a financial literacy one-day workshop. And we're going to go through all the resources that you might use as a social studies or as a business teacher, the middle or high school level. And I'm going to give you so much stuff that you won't know what to do with it. And Ben and Quentin have started this process for you. So as you go through your courses, I really want you to pay attention to this stuff. Some of it you can use for personal use, but for professional use, it's really going to be valuable. Oh, this is all. I just put it in.
No, it's okay.
I just put it in.
Anybody heard of Dave Ramsey? Sorry, let me try that one more time. Anybody heard of Dave Ramsey? Okay.
No. No.
Dave Ramsey is one that is a very big believer in financial literacy across the board. It doesn't matter your age, station in life, wherever you're at, you can start. He actually has a series of pieces that they do. It's called Foundations in Financial Freedom. That will sit not only for the middle school level, it'll sit for the high school level. That it gives you, it's 100 different plans that you can integrate throughout. Like I said, I've been observing a teacher that's input these into a general business class. That they've been actually going through the different myths of debit. So anytime you can attach anything to a type of financial literacy, any type of an accounting class, you're teaching somebody how to balance a checkbook. You're teaching financial literacy. I mean, it's that simple. We're not reinventing the wheel or anything like that. Press Media has a lot of different print materials. The Mint is actually another one that's very similar to the CEE, the Money As You Learn.
What's that? Yeah.
This is also important, is not only what you guys do as middle school teachers affect middle schoolers, who's another group that you guys affect indirectly? What was that, Quentin? Thank you. Parents. If you can help the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th graders get set on financial freedom and being more financially set, and you can help their parents along, just think how much better everybody else can move along. And it's all trickle down. You teach one family member how to do it, you teach another family member how to do it, they teach another family member how to do it. By sudden, you got Millionaires at the wazoo. But this is just a nice little website. Just different ideas. I mean, DJ and Quentin are not kidding. They're literally thousands and thousands, and she will probably overload you, and you'll go home with a stack.
Yeah, I used to give out boxes of materials. I mean, literally, the teachers would come to a 3-day workshop. I did one yesterday for teachers. I gave them a flash drive, 6 gigs worth of material on an 8-gig flash drive. It's just that overwhelming. And that's not everything. There's so much.
And I know sometimes we're talking financial literacy, everybody's kind of, you can always make it fun.
Meet Penny Earned. She's a typical teenager with typical interests.
Keep it fun.
Penny hears about a financial literacy course being taught at school. She's very curious and wants to find out what it means to be financially literate. For Penny, enrolling in the financial literacy course is the beginning of a life filled with awareness, information, and the knowledge of money matters that will put her on the path to success. Meet Bill O. Bill is also a typical teenager. But he and Penny are very different. He sees the flyer too, but financial literacy just doesn't interest him. He's got more important things to do. Let's see what happens to Bill and Penny. In the financial literacy course, Penny learns the importance of saving, investing, and working to earn money for what she wants. She gets a part-time job so she can start saving money to buy a car. Bill, however, doesn't feel like getting a job. He'd rather play video games and hang out. In the financial literacy course, Penny discovers that if she wants to keep her money safe, easy to track, and growing, she'll need to open a bank account. Bill runs into Penny while she's working. She tells him she got the job to earn money to get a car. Bill's impressed by Penny's work ethic, but more than that, he's still hungry. He'd like to buy another slice of pizza, but realizes he's broke. That's when he decides to take Penny's lead and get a job of his own. Bill, however, doesn't open a bank account to save any money. Instead, he frivolously spends all the money he makes on short-term purchases. Penny meets her savings goal, so she heads down to the local dealership and with the help of the salesperson, purchases her first car.
Right.
Bill finds out about a bank promotion that will give him $100 if he opens a checking account. So he decides to take advantage of the opportunity. But Bill doesn't manage his account or bother to balance his checkbook. He thinks it's too much of a hassle. He figures if he runs out of money, the bank will just let him know. not before they slap him with a slew of overdraft fees. The fees begin to add up, and Bill starts bouncing more checks because the fees have eaten up his cash. He's now in debt because he didn't pay attention to his finances, and they're spiraling out of control. Because he didn't pay attention, he's paying through the nose. Meanwhile, Penny is loving her new car. And the financial literacy course is also teaching her.
Keeps going from there. It's actually a little bit longer than that. It ends up, she's nice and snug in a new home, and he's living in mom's basement. So it's kind of, I mean, you can present that to a class. Which do you want to be, Penny or Bill? You guys just want to get the thumbs up.
Okay.
I was like, oh. Group 1, Group 2, Group 3, Group 4, Group 5. So Group 1, I need you guys to go to richkidsmartkid.com. What I want you guys to look for are different things that you could utilize in a classroom and what would make that interaction a little bit easier within your classroom. Group 2, Big Handy Fortune. You're going to have to use the login that I provided there. And then you'll follow the classroom, or choose student classrooms and the classroom grade. Group 3, you guys got yours. 4, the countdown retirement. And Group 5.
Are you students or educators?
Hmm?
The question was student or educators?
Oh, for Group 2?
Oh, I'm not there yet.
Go to educator.
There we go.
Looking for different things that you guys could utilize in your classroom. How you could do it.
And while you're doing that, I'm going to send the cookies around because my
That's what-
husband
it's like
said,
cute to
don't
get that
bring
out of
them
here."
home.
That is my cue to get out.
Where are you going with the cookies, Ben? Oh.
Your table.
Now, not all games, and they actually have shown that utilizing games in the classroom makes your lesson plan a little more effective. That does not necessarily mean that everything has to be an electronic game. Again, I mentioned Monopoly earlier. You can do.
Yeah. I have a meeting.
Wait, mine's not working.
It's an
Try it
IP.
again.
Oh,
Good.
good.
Did you do classroom administration?
Yeah, you do.
I did
Well, I can't do anything
student
with that.
classrooms.
Exactly.
Mine's not working there.
I
don't know.
we got the very last time anyway. So
Oh,
I was
okay.
gonna have to leave.
Check on. Are you doing classroom?
Got
Yeah.
it?
And then you'll have.
And then just pick a student.
Noon on Tuesday.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it might be like 12:15 because my son, like his dentist appointment's at 10 o'clock. And he, yeah.
What do we do?
And he has to get a filling. It's his first one.
I'm just gonna. It doesn't support it.
Thankfully, my friend is like the hygienist, so she'll be in there. But
I haven't caught the paper Starbucks already.
yeah,
It's the end of the semester. I can't play. Do you want one? What do we do? Okay, you're gonna click on. Where are you? Go back.
oh, thank you, man. Oh, how fun.
Click student classrooms instead. I'm gonna great. Are we supposed to be middle school? Sure. What are we doing?
I'm just filling it out. I don't even know.
Droid. Dang it. I'm
Like I
playing.
said earlier, guys, if you keep it fun. How many people knew April was Financial Literacy Month? from aside from DJ. April is Financial Literacy Month. So there was actually, you heard me mention Brass Media earlier. Every year they've put on a contest,
I can't.
and this is kind of their trailer
And it goes
to
to one
announce their
page.
contest.